Tachopaniya sadasi parimlana mukhashriyah rajna avedayanchakruhu sarva yadava sannidhau. They rushed to Ugrasena, the leader of the whole clan. He was in the palace. And at that time, so many people were around. So they went to Ugrasena and then narrated the whole thing that has happened. At that time, they were not playful. They were very innocent and they were very open. There was no measure of stealth. But till then, the stealth overpowered them. Shutva mogham viprashabam drishtva ja musalam nripa. After listening to the story of the sage's curse on the one hand, and then a musala, something like this. Vismida bhayasandrasta babhuvurdvaragahugasaha. They were surprised, stunningly so, but they were also frightened to the core. Babhuvu dvaragahugasaha. All the residents of Dwaraka became absolutely overpowered by fear. Now, Sreemad Bhaagavatam as well as Vedavyasa says, nobody let Krishna know about the whole episode. Krishna was never spoken about it. Arey, something has happened. This Krishna was a person whom they always sought refuge under whenever there was a danger and a calamity. At this particular time, nobody told him anything. The matter was not let known to him at all. Just imagine. Was not Ugrasena a great man? Were there not so many others there in the palace who had maturity, who had insight, who had patience, who had forethought? Everything. In spite of it, this episode passed off unknown to Krishna. He was never in the picture. Then what did they do? They decided themselves. The entire plot was theirs. Tachurnayitva musalam yadurajaha sa ahukaha samudra salile prasyade loham cha asya avasheshidam. They decided, what can we do now? You should understand the power of imagination of the human mind. The mind has tremendous imaginational power. The imagination can be for a good purpose and also bad purpose. There are so many fiction writers. They can produce, spin and weave any extent of fiction. It's all the mind. There are other people who can think. Say Vedavyasa Maharshi has written Mahabharatam. Valmiki has written Ramayanam. Now Vyasadeva has written Sreemad Bhagavatam. This is also from their imaginative power. Just see what happened. Tachurnayitva musulam yadurajaha sa ahukaha. That Yaduraja, Ugrasena, ordered, what shall we do now? This iron pestle, as it is very heavy. So simply file it, pulverize it. And after pulverizing it, throw it into the sea. Then they went on filing. And ultimately a small piece which could not be filed, held in the fingertips and filed, that was left aside. So he said, take all of them and throw it into the sea. Tachurnayitva musalam yadurajaha sa ahukaha samudra salile prasyade loham cha asya avasheshidam. The entire musala, the pestle, was powdered and thrown into the sea. After all, the sea is saline. In saline water, generally nothing will survive, but there are trees and plants under the sea also. Kaschin matsyo grasil loham churnani taralaistadaha uhyamanani velayam lagnanyasan kilairagaha. After all, they threw. If they had thrown it into a lake, it would have been different. Because it was the sea. And how much they would have gone? I believe they did not go much. Maybe he sent with somebody. I don't think they asked them to take it in a boat, go about 20 or 50 kilometers and then put it. They would not have said. So they threw it. And the sea always brings forth a number of waves. So in the wave, the whole water sometimes gets jerked up. So slowly and steadily, the entire powdered material came over the shore. And then, in the shore, they started sprouting as something called erakaha. It is a kind of grass. I don't think I can call it a grass. The way we have been shown traditionally this Eraka grass is, it's a triangular stem. It will be so tall. And the stem is absolutely free, very flexible and green. So you can take it and use it as a mild cane. You can beat a person. It is though soft, it can be used for that. That kind of an Eraka grass it became. And so far as this small piece is concerned, Uhyamana anivelayam lagnanyasan kilairagaha matsyo grihido matsyagnaihi jalenanyaihi saharnave tasyo daragatam loham sashalye lubdhago agarod. The small piece was swallowed by a fish. And the fish was caught hold of by a hunter by spreading his net. When he opened the fish, he found that there was a little iron piece. So he said, what shall I do? I am given to hunting. So he fixed it on the tip of an arrow. Matsyo grihido matsyagnaihi jalena anyai saharnave tasyo daragatam loham sashalye lubdhago agarod bhagavanyata sarvartha ishwaropi tadanyatha kartum nechad viprashapam kalarupyavamo anvamodata. Bhagavanyata sarvartha. Lord Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, Nyata sarvartha. He was all knowing. Though these people did not communicate to him what had taken place, the episode, he knew all about it sufficiently well. Ishwarobi tadanyatha kartum. Though he knew about it, he never wanted to redress the course of the events. Anyatha kartum na ichchad. Viprashapam Kalarupi anvamodata kartum nechad viprashapam kalarupi anvamodata. Though Sri Krishna was not told by anybody about whatever had happened, later on he came to know that all this has happened. Though he knew everything and he was a Kalarupi. What does it mean? Our soul is the source for everything. Krishna was one who understood this source, realized this source. What is the difference between all of you and Krishna? He was also a human being. You now call him God. That is a different matter. Whom are you calling God? The child born to Devaki and who grew up in Vrindavana, bred by Yashoda. After all, that human body was there. Inside the human body was a spiritual, philosophical and enlightened dimension. That is what we call the soul. The soul is the source for everything in this world. I would like you to understand, there are three factors in creation, constituents. One is time, the next is objects, the third is space. So the earth is in space, the sun and moon are in space, all the stellar regions are in space. So any object can be there only in space. And an object, unless it goes on transforming in a consistent manner, there will not be anything called time. So time is not independent, it is related to objects, and objects are subsisting upon space. So all the three are mutually interrelated, interrelated. So what is that independent source from which all the three interdependent constituents, factors, how are they coming into existence and functioning? So here Sri Krishna is described by Sreemad Bhagavatam Vedavyasa as Kalarupi. He was a person who was containing the time, originating the time, preserving and holding the time. Such a great person as he was, even then, he could have undone this Viprashapa. Everything could have been all right, but he did not choose to do it. Kalarupi anvamodata. On the other hand, he said, well done, and complimented it. Now, this is how nature works, nature's system works. We don't have to really wonder at anything. We don't have to condemn anything. We don't have to praise anything unduly. About the knower of truth, Yoga Vasishta Ramayana says, Vasishta says, suppose one day the entire oceans were to dry up, showing their bottom. The Jnani, the Tattva Jnani, the knower of truth will not be surprised. Equally so, one day, the Himalayas and the Mount Merus melt off, became molten. They will not be surprised. What is there to be surprised in this world? The world itself is a surprise. Our heart continues to beat, our lungs continue to bellow. The very fact that this continue, this itself is the wonder. This is the wonder. The wonder is that we are not dying. Our life itself is a wonderful thing. So he did not get any sense of wonder. On the other hand, smilingly, internally at least with a smile, he complimented the whole development. Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaradah chartheshvabhijñaswarat tene brahmahrida yadikavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejo varimrdam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirhasta guhakam satyam param dhimahi. You will find that it is not addressed to a God, so to say. It is addressed to the supreme, ineffable or indescribable something. We have no words to describe it. But we can describe it in this manner. It is the source from which the entire creation has emerged. And all that is created and existing, all that is created and is existing is also preserved. Equally so, the dissolution also is brought about by. This is one description. Another important phrase which I would like all of you to know is Artheshu Abhijñah Swarat. Now this particular source is so supremely sovereign that it does not depend upon any second factor for anything. When God created the universe, there was no material around him or besides him. And he himself is not a material product. So the supra-material presence called the supreme reality, the supreme intelligence itself, that will be the better description of God. Now from that, the whole universe, which is material and energial alike, has come about. So he is sovereign in his own manner in the matter of producing, generating and bringing about any kind of a manifestation. And whenever there are confrontations, discomfitures and the like, Sri Krishna himself was born as the 8th child, and there was an impersonal voice saying that I am going to be born as the 8th child of your sister in order to destroy you, was the impersonal voice. Why was it necessary? Because Kamsa could not be contended by anybody else. So whenever any occasion comes, let it be one of appearing as a Mohini, an enchanting form, or saving Prahlada as Narahari, or saving an elephant in the form of Mahavishnu and his Sudarshana, whatever it may be, he is capable of manifesting, arriving, presenting himself at any time without being governed by the usual cause and effect process. Artheshu Abhijñah Swarat. In that he is supremely sovereign. He doesn't want anybody's help, and nobody can hinder him, obstruct him, overcome him or overwhelm him. Abhijñah Artheshu. At any point of time, evolving any kind of an expediency, he will be able to reach the spot and deliver the rescue measure, whatever is required. It is this kind of a God, this kind of a supreme reality that Sreemad Bhagavata exposes skandha after skandha. And that is the supreme truth. Understand it to be the param satyam. And what you have to do, you have to carry it in your own intelligence, in the form of an investigation, enquiry, contemplation, examination, reflection, rumination and the like. This is the way you have to do. So far as the supreme presence is concerned, it can only be accessible to the human intelligence. Buddhigrahyam adi indriyam. It is supra-sensory in character, at the same time absolutely accessible to your intelligence. So employ the intelligence. And the entire Srimad Bhagavatam is telling you, Vedyam vastavamatra vastu shivadam. In the second verse he says, throughout the chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, I am only presenting the supreme truth, ineffable truth, which has to be known, understood, experienced and realized. The word used is Vedyam, means to be known. So is Srimad Bhagavata merely a devotional scripture where bhakti and bhakti are alone mentioned? Or is it actually discussing a proposition, a truth, which has to be interacted with in the form of an inquiry and an investigation by your intelligence, finally comprehended by it. Now, this is the one which will redress all the threefold afflictions of all people. To live in this world means to be subjected to a threefold affliction: Adhyatmic, Adhidevik and Adhibaudik suffering. All these will be mitigated and the Supreme Lord will be installed in your heart. Sadhyo hridya avarudhyate etra kridibhihi shushrusubhistakshanad. If you listen to me, Sreemad Bhagavatam says, the author says, if you are listening to me with a lot of faithfulness, attention and attunement, you will be able to capture, install the Lord in your own heart. And this process of installation is a process of understanding the very pursuit of knowledge and knowledge alone. And to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam means to be knowing, to be comprehending, to become more and more proximate to the Supreme Reality, and to make the Supreme Reality more and more proximate to you. Ultimately, you will find that it is closer to you, nearer to you than your body, than your mind, than your intelligence, than even your ego. That is your very self. That is the idea you will be able to arrive at ultimately. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam, as I said, consists of 12 skandhas. Initially, the 9 skandhas discuss a number of subjects. Now, in the 10th skandha, the longest and the most complex, consisting of 90 chapters, you will find the birth, the growth, the different types of exploits and excellences displayed by Krishna. In the 10th skandha, Krishna's birth, right from the commencement of his birth, until he has accomplished all that he was supposed to accomplish, everything was over. Until then, the whole skandha discusses it. The birth, the growth, the achievements, the exploits, as well as the excellences and the glory of Krishna, everything is mentioned there. Now, all these 10 chapters are primarily to lead the listeners and the viewers to the 11th skandha, the Ekadasha skandham as we call it. And what is the subject in the Ekadasha skandham? It is called the Mukti-skandham, the skandha on liberation. What does liberation mean? It is to liberate and deliver your mind from the shackles of the mind itself. It is to deliver the intelligence from the shackles of intelligence itself. Mind produces a number of negative emotions. A number of emotions are there. That is what we normally call Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These are the 6 negative emotions that the mind repeatedly generates. Now we have to get relieved from these negative and suppressing and subduing emotions. So we want to get free from the constrictions, unnecessary constrictions imposed by the mind. The intelligence presents a lot of delusion, doubt and indecision. These also have to be relieved from. So the word liberation or moksha or mukti, it does not refer to a posthumous reward or a posthumous attainment to come to you after the death. On the other hand, it is something which you have to accomplish, actualize, realize, experience and also radiate in your life. As you are feeling a sense of bondage, limitation and constriction in your mind, exactly in the same manner, you will start floating in the ecstasy of freedom. Both are equally possible. This you should understand. As you can walk frontward with your legs, you can also walk sideward or backward. Now you are quoting or you have quoted unknowingly something like delusion and bondage in your mind. Various forms of constrictions. These constrictions will start becoming looser and looser. Finally, you will be freed from them. Now, this kind of a liberation is what we are aiming at. This Mukti-skandham discusses the science, the art and process of liberating your mind. Am I clear? The purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam, the huge 18,000 verse text, is only to present to you, lead you to the 11th skandha, the Mukti-skandham as we call it. In the Mukti-skandha, what is the subject? The subject is primarily a conversation between Krishna and Uddhava. Krishna had already accomplished whatever he was supposed to do in the world, and withdrawing from all the activities and interactions, he was almost restful, preparing himself for departure. At that time, there ensued a conversation between him and Uddhava. Uddhava was saying that I cannot keep away from you, you are about to depart from this world, destroying your own family. And Dwaraka also is going to be sunk. When you are going away, I won't be able to restrain myself or leave myself. So please take me also wherever you go. As devotees, are you prepared to say this to the Lord? My dear Lord, please take me to where you are. All your prayers are, my dear Lord, keep me in my house safely. This is what we will say. Take me to where you are. That kind of a prayer never comes from you. Because you consider your house and belongings to be superior and greater than God. That is why you tell God, I want your blessings. What for? Not to live with you or not to get embraced by you. I want to be embraced by my own people and I want only your blessing. So you are secondary in my list of priority and primary is my own family and myself. Is it not so? Yes or no? Yes. Accept it. When you go to God and submit a prayer and prayer for something, that something is superior to God whom you are praying to. Otherwise you will go and say, my dear God, I want nothing else but you. Make me your own and become my own. This should be the type of prayer. But we are not doing it. That is, what shall I say? It's a kind of mental and devotional poverty that we are suffering from. Now, Bhaagavatam wants you to identify it properly and get rid of it. Now, then Uddhava was asked to get away from Dwaraka and other places and go to Badarika Ashrama and sit in penance, contemplating upon Krishna and seeing Krishna all around. Simply keep me in your mind and get away from here before I go. Now your problem is, after I leave, you will be left alone. While I am living, you yourself go. So the problem is mine. Then he said, I am not able to go. Instruct me so that I shall be able to go. So Krishna gave a beautiful instruction. It runs into 24 chapters. We also call it Uddhava Upadesha. The Upadesha or instruction given to his chosen devotee, trusted minister and counselor Uddhava by name. Krishna was 125 years old at the time. And correspondingly and parallelly, Uddhava also was in advanced stage. So it was a very great conversation that took place in the salubrious palace of Dwaraka, the fortress so to say, between Krishna and Uddhava in a very peaceful atmosphere. You generally know about Bhagavad Gita, which transpired all of a sudden in a lightning manner in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when even the war cries had been raised and only the discharge of arrows was about to take place. Stopping everything, Arjuna wanted to examine the army, and after examining, he was completely overpowered by grief, infatuation, doubt and consternation. So Krishna suddenly advised him. Both of them were middle-aged at that time. Now the situation is different. So Krishna, the same Krishna, is giving a beautiful gospel. You are not in the midst of war. Many of you are the other way around. So you will find the instruction given by Krishna to Uddhava is much more applicable, relevant, useful and benedictory to all of you. Now this is the main content of Sreemad Bhagavatam. Krishna is a very special personality which Sreemad Bhagavata presents and also represents. And this Krishna is made to give by Vedavyasa an elaborate spiritual, philosophical, psychological, intellectual instruction to Uddhava, incorporating which, imbibing which, Uddhava's problems were solved, and he took the sandals of Krishna, placed them on his head, turning back, unwillingly he walked off to Badarika Ashrama. This is what he did. So Krishna made him do what he said he was unable to do. So the instruction was very effective. Now just before Krishna spoke about it, in the Mukti-skandham you will find there is another interesting conversation between King Nimi, the Emperor Nimi of Videha, and Navayogis, 9 yogis who happened to visit his satram unannounced. There ensued a conversation. That conversation also is very beautiful. As Mukti-skandham is a Mukti-skandham, you will find both the dialogue between King Nimi and the Navayogis, 9 yogis, and also the elaborate instruction given by Krishna on the one hand, received by Uddhava. All of them are equally sublime, ennobling, elevating and enlightening. The conversation between King Nimi and the 9 yogis. It is so beautiful, so nice and so relevant that Vedavyasa decided to prefix it to the other one. So you can understand how important, sublime and relevant it is. Now I am straight away going to that. We are going to the 11th skandha. All of you should be ready as Sreemad Bhagavatam listeners. Are you all ready? So I will be reciting the Sanskrit verses. Verse after verse I am going to discuss. Will you like it? Surely? So I will recite it also. That recitation is an important part of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is in Sanskrit, no doubt. So we are going to the 11th skandha, the 2nd chapter, from the first shloka onwards. Govinda bhuja guptayam dvaravatayam gurudvaha avassin narado bhikshnam krishno pasana Konurajan indriyavan mukunda charanambujam nabhajet sarvado mrityuhu upasya mamarottamaihi tamegadatu devarshim vasudevo grihagadam archidam sukhamasinam abhivadyedam abravid bhagavan bhavado yatra Swastaye sarvadehinam kripananam yatha pitroho uttama shloka vartmanam Bhutanam devajaritam dukkhaya cha sukhaya cha sukhayaiva hi sadhunam twadrisham achyudatmanam bhajanti yatha devan deva api tathaiva tan chayeva karma sajivaha sadhavo dinavatsalaha Brahman tathami pruchhamo dharman bhagavatan tava yan shrutva shraddhaya martyo muchyate sarvato bhayad. Did you like the recitation?